Hello and welcome to the episode number 8 of the Getting Started with Booster series. If you don't know what Booster is, I recommend you to go to the first episode and check that out. In this episode, we'll be talking about entities and their reducers. If you don't remember what an entity is, it's the representation of the state of your application at some point in time. Remember that the source of truth of your application are events and the event store of Booster is essentially an infinite array of objects that will be combined later by a reducer, so they get reduced into an entity. This part is the reactivity part of your application. So we have events going on, reducers reducing them into an entity, and then we have also event handlers, which we'll take a look at them in the future. So right now, when we were designing our bank account application, we thought about a bank account entity. So we're going to have a balance, going to be a number. And also, we're going to say that it reduces the bank account created and the bank account changed events. So we can go ahead and create our first entity. In order to do that, we come here to the terminal and we write boost new entity. And name of the entity, we're going to call it account. Going to have some fields. The field, well, it's going to first have an owner. It's going to be a UUID type. And it's going to have a balance, which is going to be a number. And here we specify which events will be reduced into this entity. So we write dash dash reduces, and we write the event names. So we're going to write account changed and account created. Now we submit that command, and it will generate the entity file for us. So we're going to go ahead and open it up. And now we have a bunch of stuff over here. So first of all, we see some imports. Imports entities, reduces, UUID. This comes from Booster. Also, we have our two events that have been imported from our events folder. And we have here the usage of the entity decorator. This entity decorator takes this account class as a parameter. Remember that a decorator is just a function. And this function is telling Booster, hey, this class is going to be used as an entity. So Booster will know what stuff to do. Underneath, Booster will create some snapshots, will like wire everything together in order to make this work for you. But that's everything handled under the hood, so you don't have to be thinking about that. So here we have the constructor of our class, which specifies our fields. We have an owner and balance, and oh, we have also an ID field that we didn't specify. And this is because by default, all of the entities have an ID. You don't have to specify them, but Booster gives them an ID. And Booster uses that ID underneath to perform like a lot of optimization operations. So after that, we have the usage of the @reduces decorator, and it has the account changed event as a parameter. What does that mean? Well, it means that this function over here is a reducer for the account changed event. In the case of the account changed event, we should probably, well, change the balance. But first of all, let's take a look at the account created reducer. So this reducer over here is just like a static method, which is a function, and it receives the event as the first parameter and an optional previous state. Why is this optional? Well, because, for example, when you're creating the account for the first time, there's no account, and this will be undefined. In the case of account created, we won't be using this as there won't be any account previously. And after that, this function must return an account. So we can go ahead and return a new account over here. Account. First of all, the ID, this comes in the event as an account number. Second, the owner of the account, which is going to be the owner of the event as well, and the balance is going to be 0. Here we haven't used this current account parameter, so we can just go ahead and delete it. Now we can come here to the account changed event. So here we can go ahead and return something else. For example, if the current account doesn't exist, we will probably won't be doing anything. And in that case, we will probably be throwing an error. So we can go ahead and check that. So we say if not current account, that this is null or undefined, we're going to be throwing an error. Error. This shouldn't happen. Account doesn't exist. And we can also specify the ID of the account. Like this, dot account. And we should then change these quotes. That. And in the case that the account exists, which is the other possibility, go ahead and specify here an else. Here, what we're going to do is just return a new account with the new balance. So we're going to go ahead and calculate the new balance. So the new balance is going to be the event.amount plus the current account.balance. And here we return new account and we pass the account number, the current account owner. Well, we can actually use here also the current account dot ID, current account dot owner, and here we pass the new balance. And that's the only thing that you have to do for reducing your events into an account. If you remember, in some previous video, we have also tried to check the state of an account. And we did so in the deposit command. Here in the deposit command, we tried to fetch an entity snapshot, which is calculated by Booster automatically. I can go ahead now and uncomment this line, change this name by account. Gonna be automatically imported from the entity's account. And here we can check if this account exists. I'm gonna say if, and this is async, so you have to await for it. So if there's no account, we'll be throwing an error. And I'm just gonna copy and paste it from this part. Paste it over here. And instead of event.account number, this is gonna be this .account number. And if it does exist, we will be here. And if it does exist, we will be registering an event. And I can go ahead and copy this into the withdraw command handler as well. Check for it. Oops, I had to copy as well this. So we can go ahead and paste it over here. Then we just can import this port count. What's happening here again is we are waiting for an entity snapshot account. If it doesn't exist, we will throw an error. And this is one of the parts of importance on commands, is validating that the inputs are correct. So let's take a look at what we've done in this episode. First of all, we took a look at the requirements of our entities, which in our case was a bank account with some fields, balance. Also, I've added an owner and we thought about what event does it use. So we've created an entity with the command line tool. We wrote boost new colon entity, name of the entity, which is account, -- fields, the fields in the form of name of field colon type, then -- reduces, and the name of the events that it reduces. This had generated for us a class with all the imports, all the specified decorators, and the reducer methods. And here in the reducer methods, we've applied essentially the same principle that the array.reduce method works in plain JavaScript. So we have an event, which comes from this event store, which is an array of, like an infinite array of events, and a possible previous state. Then we return a new account. And this will be handled by Booster, and it will create the entity state for us, and at the same time, the snapshots, which then you can query in your commands in order to see, like, check what's the balance, check if the account exists, etc., etc. So if you have any questions so far, just post them down below in the comment section, and stay tuned for the next video. Thanks for watching.